What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fight Hard, Fight Clean. And we've got a special video today because this is the first video with a special guest. If you like combat sports, you've heard his voice at least once. He's done MMA, kickboxing, boxing, everything you can name or think of. It's Todd Grisham. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, man. How you been?
I've been great. School's going good. Got a graduation date in check. So this first question, you're the first person I wanted to ask about this because I know you've done a lot of boxing work with DAZN, but you've also done a lot of kickboxing work with Glory Kickboxing, as I see behind you. Oleksandr Usyk is fighting Rico Verhoeven.
Yeah.
How much of a chance do you think Rico Verhoeven has of beating Oleksandr Usyk?
Beating, that's a tough word. I don't want to say 0% because, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. The thing about Rico is he's very disciplined, and I think he'd do a lot better against a power puncher, someone like a Deontay Wilder, someone that's going to come right at him, try and crush him. Usyk's so technically sound and such an outstanding boxer with great footwork. I mean, guys can't even touch him. So it's going to be a real challenge for Rico. But what I do think Rico can do is go deep in the fight, maybe go the distance with Usyk, and that would be a win. I don't think a lot of people are going to pick him to do that. A lot of people think Usyk's going to knock him out in 2 or 3 rounds. So if he can withstand, if Usyk decides, listen, this guy's not on my level, it's only his second ever boxing fight, I'm going to go and just destroy him. If he comes in with that mentality, Rico has a chance because he's a great counterpuncher. He's good defensively. He can take a beating from all those kicks and punches and knees he's eaten in kickboxing over the years. So if Usyk fights with that mentality, Rico has a shot. If Usyk's very disciplined like he normally is, doesn't make mistakes, it's going to be real difficult.
I'm excited to see it, though. I saw it was at the Pyramids of Giza. And
yeah,
it's like one of those specialty location events. And like for events like that, where it's either the Pyramids of Giza or in the middle of Times Square, do you think that's a cool idea, or do you prefer the environment of a packed out stadium?
It's hit or miss. That fight, unless you were going to have it in a football stadium in either Ukraine or in Amsterdam, where Rico's from, I think it's a cool venue because it gets people talking. A lot of people might check it out just to see how the pyramids look and just to, the novelty of it. There's been talks that there would be fights at Alcatraz, So even if you didn't know who was fighting, I said, there's a big boxing event at Alcatraz. You might flick it on just to check it out. So it's certainly an iconic location. I don't think there's ever been anything like this there. So it's new, it's cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And
after Garcia's clinic, Ryan Garcia, against Mario Barrios a couple months ago, there's been a lot of talk of who he should fight next because this is like a reinvented fighter. What fight do you think makes the most sense for him next?
I mean, it's got to be, to me, Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia dropped him, I think, 3 times in that fight, won a decision, but popped guilty of performance-enhancing drugs afterwards. He also missed weight for that fight. So a lot of things tilted the wrong way for Devin that night, and Devin has vowed that he wants revenge. The fight's made, you know what I mean? It doesn't need any more hype. It doesn't need more build up. All the storylines are there and ready to go. And that's the one I want to see.
Same, yeah. Like there were so many unanswered questions because of that Osterine pop, where it's like, were the knockdowns because of the Osterine? Is it style that made the fight? So yeah, I'm excited for that one. And then I remember when Garcia got the title shot, there was a lot of, back and forth between like, oh, why isn't Romero getting the shot because he beat Garcia the event before? Do you think Romero should be involved, or does he need to have one more fight to really put his name in there?
Right before he beat Ryan Garcia, and even after he beat Ryan Garcia, he said, no matter what happens tonight, I want to see Garcia fight Devin Haney again. And even after the fight, he goes, no, I don't care. Let them fight. So he's the least worried about it than anybody. I mean, he's got his title. He's got a lot of people knocking on his door, but he might get the Devin Haney fight next. Boxing is a lot about financials. So if Ryan's asking for $10 million and Rolly says, I'll fight you for $2 million, well, that's an extra $8 million that could possibly go into the pot to get to Devin Haney. So it's not always about what fight people want to see. It's about what fight makes the most financial sense for the individual fighter.
Very true. Very true. And speaking of Shakur, after the victory against Teofimo Lopez, who do you think is left for him to fight?
It's one thing just to win these big fights, but to win basically every round and never be touched. That's Floyd Mayweather territory. To me, he's just going to have to keep going up and wait until somebody, stops him. That's kind of what Roberto Duran had to do back in the day. I mean, Manny Pacquiao won 7 titles in 7 different weight classes. So eventually someone will be too big, but I don't see Shakur going and testing the waters that high. He's talked about Ryan Garcia, but then Shakur said there'll have to be a post weigh-in weight limit. You can only go up like 5 pounds right before the fight. He's at least concerned about Ryan Garcia in that regard, so that gives me a little hope that, hey, you know, if he's putting these parameters on a Ryan Garcia fight, maybe he knows Garcia has at least a little bit of a chance. So anybody that can beat Shakur, it's one of two people. Someone that fights like William Zepeda did, who is a all-out pressure puncher, does a million punches, and, you know, Shakur he's like windshield wiping the whole time. I mean, he won it definitively, but there were some kind of moments in that fight where you're like, whoa, wait a minute. So it's going to be someone that puts a lot of pressure, or someone that's just as fast as Shakur and has great timing. And Ryan Garcia might be that guy.
Yeah, especially with that left hook. If Shakur makes one mistake, that could be the beginning of the end. So that would be a fun fight.
But again, I want Devin Haney next to Ryan Garcia. If Garcia beats Devin Haney or knocks him out, then that makes the Shakur fight even bigger.
I mean, I think that was like one of my favorite fights of all time, that Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight, because it was just so chaotic. Because, like, I remember when Chris Mannix went to the corner to talk to Devin Haney's father, his coach, that's when he got knocked down in the first time in his career. So I was like, oh my God, I would hate to be Mannix, but I would also hate to be, you know, Devin Haney's father in that moment, because you're like, what the hell is happening? You
know, we didn't know what to expect from that fight. I think a lot of people bought it. It was a pay-per-view or watched it, hoping that Ryan would kind of show up. You remember he was having a lot of mental issues, sending out crazy tweets, came in overweight. They're drinking during the press conference, or at least pretending to. So you're like, this guy's a mess. He's a wreck. He's going to get blown out. And then boom, just to rock Devin Haney in round 1 and then drop him 3 times. It was kind of an unexpected great fight. And now the rematch, I think, will get a lot more attention and a lot more eyeballs, because they saw how good the first one was when Ryan Garcia, quite frankly, wasn't 100%.
Like I said, Ryan Garcia against Barrios, he's a reinvented fighter, but also is Devin Haney, because for his past couple fights, he's been kind of, you know, using his bike a lot, just staying on the edge, jabbing when he needs to. But in his most recent fight, he came out and knocked him down. Do you think Devin Haney is going to use the same approach in the Garcia fight, or do you think he's going to be a lot more defensively technical?
I think he's going to be a lot more defensively minded. I mean, he knows what Ryan Garcia can do to him. He can watch the tape, and those were brutal knockdowns. And man, Devin Haney showed a lot of heart getting back up from those. But if there's anything we've seen from Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, they will not take risks when they don't have to. Once he dropped Norman Jr., we're all sitting ringside like, he's going to destroy this guy. He's going to push the gas pedal to the floor and get him out of there. But he didn't. He's like, oh, I got my knockdown. I've won the first few rounds. This guy's intimidated of me. Let me just play it safe and win. Shakur does that too. I mean, he was dominating Teofimo Lopez. Lopez mentally was shocked by like round 8. He knew he couldn't win. He was just going through the motions. And instead of Shakur, you know, really trying to make a statement, these guys are content just to coast and win. It's hard to argue with their logic. Hey, just win, baby. Keep the 0 at the end of the record. That's what everybody cares about. But to me, I like the Manny Pacquiaos of the world that just go for broke. And their argument would be, well, those guys' careers don't last that long, and they're going to get banged up, and they're going to have mental problems. Yeah, but I still like to watch it. To me, it's almost like a race car event. If I told you we're going to a race car event, just to let you know, there will be no crashes. There'll be, you know, no one's going to hit each other. It's the same thing with boxing. If I say neither one of these guys is going to be knocked down tonight, it's just going to be a 12-round boxing match. Half the people be like, I don't want to see that. At least give me the possibility of a knockdown, but, you know, or a knockout. But with Shakur and Devin, you'll be lucky to get it now.
Speaking of that undefeated record that fighters often like strive for, Mayweather and Pacquiao are fighting for a second time. And I know how much Mayweather cherishes that undefeated record. He's been doing exhibitions for the past 3 or 5 years. Even with it being a pro fight, how much of this fight do you think is about money for Floyd?
100%.
Yeah.
100% about money. You've seen the lawsuit Mayweather's filed against PBC Boxing, which a lot of people think no grounds for that. But I mean, he's grasping for straws. You see he's being foreclosed on some of his properties, I think. He's having to sell some of his vehicles. That money goes fast when you spend it like Floyd does. And he posts all those gambling tickets too. Hey, I bet $100,000 and won. He never posts the ones he loses, and nobody wins at sports gambling. I'm here to tell you right now. I've tried. Lord knows I've tried. So he's losing a lot of money. He's coming back. He's fighting 3 times in 1 year. He's already got a fight with Tyson, apparently in Africa. Zambitis, I believe the kickboxer in Italy. And then Manny Pacquiao. How will his body hold up? You know, it's one thing to be in the, you know, if you're, look at Roy Jones Jr. Once his reflexes slowed just a little bit enough where, you know, he couldn't win these fights with his hands down by his waist anymore. It changes the whole game. And Manny Pacquiao just showed us with his recent fight with Mario Barrios last year, he's still got something left in the tank. And I think Mayweather's whole career is based on that zero, he's putting it in real jeopardy fighting Pacquiao.
Like you said, he just needs money right now, and that's why he's doing 3 fights. Or maybe this is his coup de grace year in boxing, but I'm starting to lean towards that he needs money right now, so he's doing all the fights, and he'll keep doing this until he's 70 and can't throw a jab anymore. So
yeah, I think that happens to a lot of athletes. They look at their bank account, it looks great, and then they don't realize, hey, I'm spending this amount of money, nothing's coming in anymore, and if these investments I've made don't give me what I'm wanting, it all goes south in a hurry.
Because this fight is a professional fight, and I think it was a couple years ago, Floyd Mayweather expressed interest like, oh yeah, I could come back and beat all the pro fighters. You think there's any real interest in that, or is it just talk?
If you're telling me Floyd Mayweather can beat Terrence Crawford, I'd say there's no chance in hell.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
I don't think he can beat any of those top guys anymore. Could he beat Manny Pacquiao? Yes. Can he beat 61-year-old Mike Tyson? Sure. Can he beat a kickboxer from Italy? Yeah, why not? But when you start talking top 5 fighters at 154 pounds or whatever he would fight at 147, I mean, there's some real killers out there that he would want no part of.
Can't disagree more. Or no, can't agree more.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
I'm about to say, I was like,
bring me your facts. What do you got?
Switching to UFC, what did you think of the White House card?
I mean, they brought as big of fights as they could get. I'm not dialed into the UFC like I used to be, but outside of John Jones, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, I mean, it's got pretty much everybody you could want on it. So, I mean, I think everybody was waiting for Conor or Jones to headline it, so there was going to be a little disappointment no matter who they put on the card. But top to bottom, I mean, especially if you're a diehard MMA fan, I don't think you can have many complaints. The only problem is you see the MVP card that Jake Paul's put on with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano on there, and you got Francis Ngannou on the card. You got Alex Pereira's sister on the card. You got Mike Perry versus Diaz. To me, the casual MMA fan and the normal Joe Blow on the street will get more excited about that card.
Absolutely, and because it's from Jake Paul, the man who's had a long rivalry with Dana White about fighter pay, he's now doing his own MMA events. Do you think like competition could start to rise for UFC, or do you think they're established as the number one?
Well, the thing is, once you get in that UFC ecosystem, it's almost impossible to get out. From some of the clauses I've seen or heard about, like once you become champion, like your contract automatically extends 2 fights, or whatever it is, they make it very, very difficult for you to get out of that contract. You know, John Jones can't just go fight for whoever he wants. And when was the last time he had a UFC fight? So, I mean, Conor McGregor, the same thing. He could make a ton more money, I think, on the open market if he did an MMA fight with Jake Paul, let's say, but he'd have to get the UFC's permission. So they have these ironclad contracts where, sure, you can get former UFC fighters and crossover fighters on these cards, but as far as like an Alex Pereira, you're just never going to touch him. Unless MVP kind of pulls what like Zuffa Boxing is doing, where they're like, we're going to sign all the young boxing talent that we think is going to be has the potential to be star potential in the future. We're going to sign them young and keep them there. If Jake Paul all of a sudden starts signing all these top college wrestlers that are graduating school and signing all these MMA fighters that are 2-0 and 3-0, then it's going to be very difficult.
Can't agree more. I almost said it again. But switching back to boxing, one of the best cruiserweights in the world right now, Jai Opetaia, he had 2 pretty major fights in this past month. He fought Brandon Glanton on Zuffa 4, and then he fought the IBF for about 3 weeks. Yeah. What are your thoughts on just the politics IBF has been playing with Opetaia?
I think they botched it. I think they wanted to have a fight over this. They wanted to stick their flag in the ground and say, no, if Zuffa's not going to recognize our titles and they're going to create their own, then we don't want to be a part of it. But for this particular fight against Glanton, they weren't doing that. The IBF title sitting right in front of Opetaia. He said he's happy to be defending it. He's happy to fight for it. He wants to be undisputed champion. And then the IBF came out with, they tweeted the wrong phrase and the belt wasn't in the right picture. And stupid stuff where you're like, this isn't the time. Have your belt be defended. Now, the day they say we're not going to put the IBF title on the dais and we're not going to invite the IBF president to the fight and we're not going to have anything to do with the IBF, then yes, then you can talk about stripping him. But in my opinion, it's a fight they shouldn't be having yet.
If they're allowing him to show the belt and Opetaia is stating like, yeah, I want to be undisputed champ, so I'm going to keep this belt right here, what else is the problem? It's just all petty politics.
No, I agree. And I understand that the traditional boxing structure is feeling threatened right now by this, and they should. But instead of, hey, you know what, maybe let's get our act together a little bit. Let's eliminate that we're hard to deal with and that we're, not open to change. Let's you could have those arguments and those little battles instead of going, no, we're doing it our way or the highway. I don't think that's the fight to have.
Services like Netflix and Paramount Plus, they're putting on huge boxing events for base subscription prices. Do you think this puts pressure on people like DAZN and ESPN to lower their prices, or like I said, do you think they're established?
If DAZN was putting on one fight a month, then yeah, sure, they'd lower their price. But I mean, every single Saturday, they have a main event from around the world. I think they do over 180 fight nights a year. So, I mean, the amount you're getting for the amount you're paying, if you're a boxing fan, it's a no-brainer. Paramount's great, but you're getting one Zuffa card a month, roughly.
Sure.
Netflix does a fight every like 3 or 4 months, maybe. So sure, these one-off events, or Paramount's a little more often. But someone like DAZN, now that they have Golden Boy, they have Top Rank, they have Queensberry, they have Matchroom. I mean, you got almost every single big promoter under the same umbrella for the first time ever, and you're seeing some big fights getting made. So yeah, if you've never been a boxing fan, you go, I want DAZN. Oh, the price point seems a little high, but yeah, but if you want to watch boxing, every single night of the week and during the week, and great shoulder programming, and you get to hear my voice. So I think it's a great value.
Just our final segment, we're going to do some quick fire fight hard favorites. I'm just going to name off, your favorite something, and then first name that comes to mind, you can just blurt it out. Favorite boxer right now?
All-time Evander Holyfield. Right now, Oleksandr Usyk.
Favorite MMA fighter?
I like Sean O'Malley right now, just because he's, fun and entertaining. I like guys that are entertained, but John Jones or Alex Pereira, because I was fortunate enough to call all of Alex Pereira's Glory kickboxing fights, where he was a 2-division world champion. I called at least 10, 12 of his fights. So I've got a friendship with him, so I really enjoy watching him.
Favorite kickboxer?
Favorite kickboxer? There's a new guy named Maury Chroma, who just won the heavyweight title, now that Rico Verhoeven's retired from kickboxing and he's moved on to boxing. The new champ, who just won a one-night 8-man tournament. I think he's going to be a future star. Really, really big on him. Finally,
on any event in any combat sport, what commentary call are you most proud of that you've made?
When I call something that's kind of good, let's say, DAZN clips that off and uses it in promos. So Devin Haney was fighting a guy named, I believe, Antonio Moran. And sometimes during your call, or what you're kind of building up and seeing something, it works out perfectly. And Devin Haney had hit him with a couple shots and was kind of backing him up. And Haney kind of had this look in his eyes. I'm like, Devin Haney's got that fire in his eyes. Right as he threw a right hand, and boom, clocked him and dropped him.
And now Haney's got that fire in his eyes. A one-hitter quitter.
It was like the perfect call at the perfect time. So I'm kind of partial to that one.
Well, that's everything I have for you today. Todd, thank you so much for coming back on the show officially. And thank you guys for watching. As always, fight hard, fight clean, and I'll see you soon.